We thought that it was only fitting today that a member of the Capizzo family speak. Vito's two brothers, Frank and Gus, battled it out for the position. Frank won. Frank says it's because he's the better hockey player. Gus said it's because he put in more money. At any rate, please welcome Frank Capizzo, brother Vito Capizzo.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here today. It really is a privilege to represent the entire Kapisa family on this special occasion. I would like to thank you all for joining us today to honor my brother Vito. Vito has dedicated 45 years of his life to teaching, serving as the athletic director and course coaching the ONeil football team. I can think of no better way to honor the legacy than with the naming of this beautiful stadium after him. We are all incredibly proud of Vito's accomplishments and his remarkable 293 wins, which made him the third winningest coach in high school football history in Massachusetts. However, he would be the first to admit that it was his players, their parents, the community, and the ONeil pride that achieved this unbelievable feat and put Nantucket on the football map. As a coach, Vito was not only a teacher of sports, but a teacher of life skills, such as hard work, discipline, determination, teamwork, sportsmanship, and respect. Now, I know some of his players might disagree with the last one, respect. But as a player, you came to know that being called dummy, donkey, jackass, turkey, it was a way that Vito showed he was interested in you and he wanted you to do better. I would also like to acknowledge Vito's wife Barbara and son Scott, because without them, none of this would be possible. On behalf of Vito and the entire Kapisa family, thank you for this honor. A special thank you to Gus Kapisa, who assisted me, Athletic Director Chris Murray, who was very helpful in getting this dedication, the members of the high school administration and members of the Nantucket School Committee, especially Dr. Tim Lepre and Robin Harvey. With all your help, thank you. With all your help and support, I know this football program will continue its winning ways and remain successful as Vito passes the baton to his successor. Best of luck to John Aloisi as he continues the tradition of the Nantucket Whalers' pride. Thank you very much.
Next, we're going to hear from a very familiar face to anyone who knows Nantucket, and particularly anybody around the school system. He was the superintendent of schools from 1979 to 1990. Please welcome Dr. John ONeil.
The good Lord has brought us sunlight on this day. I knew about Vito Capizzo before I came to this lovely island in 1979. A friend of his from the town of Natick, a fellow by the name of Jimmy Christie, who has since gone to his eternal reward, told me about him before I left Sudbury. I was superintendent of schools there for 11 years before washing ashore in 1979. Jimmy was one of my elementary principals. I was responsible for 7 schools at that time. On arriving here, I found the physical plants lacking in many ways, but I saw the future in the newly constructed elementary school. My bride and I attended all the football games at home and watched. I referred to him as the master at work. We also attended a number of the games on the road, particularly the games with the Vineyard. In those days, we played and defeated schools with much larger school population. Over time, a few parents came to me to complain how the coach had handled their son. Vito and I discussed the matter. Then I told Vito a little story about his college coach. I'm wearing crimson today for Alabama. But the coach at that time was a fellow by the name of Paul Bear Bryant at Alabama. He got the name Bear because at one time in a carnival, he wrestled a bear. He was not a little fellow. I told Vito about the coach. He was coach at the University of Kentucky before he went to Alabama. I was a training company commander at Fort Knox at the time, and a member of my staff, who was the son of a coal miner in Pennsylvania, told me a story about the bear. The bear visited his home when he was in the act of recruiting, sat on a couch with his mother, and told her in his wonderful Southern accent, "We're going to take care of your boy." Mom was delighted. Off he went to the UK, was on the freshman squad. He had a sense of humor. And they would be running the opposing team's plays against the varsity. The bear was up in a tower, field glasses. My man, his name was Norm, had quite a sense of humor himself and had a few of his colleagues laughing one day after a play. The bear saw it, came down out of the tower. By then they had gone into a huddle and they were ready to run another play. He reached underneath the huddle and with a swift uppercut, flattened the kid. He was stunned, almost out of his mind. He said, "What is this?" And the bear looked down and he said, "Boy, there's a time to work and a time to play. Now is the time to work." Back to the tower he went. He finished his freshman year and said good luck to him and the Red Sox. And he went off and he went to Wichita. Was a division lower, got a full scholarship there, became a little All-American, and did extremely well. So once we reviewed my knowledge of the bear, Vito changed his style somewhat, which was wonderful. It was very well received. And he brought to his assignment a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. He was extremely cognizant of the other team's weaknesses, and he exploited them. In fact, Dennis, Karen, and I had occasion for several years to actually broadcast the games, both home and away. I remember one, I think it was the last year we did it. It was a cold day, unbelievable. We were off island somewhere, and we went up on a tower, literally a tower with a small little place to stand or what have you. And the wind was just penetrating. I thought it was man, I think we're going to cash this in, and went on from there. But I had the pleasure of broadcasting his games at home and away, and Dennis Karen was my colleague. We went up on towers on different occasions. But it was always a pleasure to see the master at work. So Vito, in conclusion, I wish you a happy retirement. All the best to Barbara and Scotty, and may God bless you. Thank you.
The year 1980 marked a very special year for Nantucket High School and also for Nantucket High School sports. In 1980, the high school football team, captained by a young man who led the state in scoring that season, won the first state championship in Nantucket High School history. Fortunate enough to have this young man return to the island, both as a teacher and a coach, still teaching and coaching today, doing a great job, a great role model, and a great mentor for our kids. Please welcome Bo Dobar.
Nine Super Bowls you went to? I remember one time Vito told me a story. Yeah, it was actually 10 Super Bowls. And it was a Super Bowl with the big animals and the small animals. He never told anybody the story, he just told me. And the big animals were winning. They were just crushing the small animals. And at halftime, he said, he gave an inspirational speech to the small animals, come on, we gotta go. Second half, the big animals had the football, and the elephant, on the first play, there was a loss. A loss of 2 yards. Second play, the rhino had the football. Loss of two yards. The third down, the hippo, 5-yard loss. Vito was shocked. He had the whole defense come in and huddle around him, and he says, who is hitting out there? And the small centipede said, it was me. He said, well, who hit the rhino for the 5-yard loss? Not third down. The centipede said, it was me. Vito looked at him and said, where have you been the first half? And the centipede said, I was getting my ankles taped. True story. I played for Coach Vito Capizzo, and I was one of 3 captains on the 1980 Super Bowl team, along with my brother Dino and Greg Moore. I wouldn't be the kind of person I am today if it weren't for Vito Capizzo. I am one of many who have followed in Coach Capizzo's path of teacher, coach, and most importantly, a good person. Coach Vito has inspired many student athletes who are willing to be inspired. Coach Vito inspired us all by challenging us to be the best that we can be. I remember Coach Vito saying to everyone on the team, good things come to those who work hard. He also told us that football and sports in general is a metaphor for life. Coach Kapisa also said that football has everything to do with life, but nothing to do with life. That's when I knew that everyone was right. Vito was nuts. No. He was preparing us to be successful. We as players just had to focus and understand the message and apply the message. The message that Coach Capizzo preached was that when you come to practice every day, he wanted us to be the best that we could be, the best that you could be. Be better than what you were yesterday, he said, even if it's just a little bit. The message just wasn't for football, but was for every aspect of your life. Coach Capizzo's message was to try not to be better than someone else, because that was a waste of time. There's always going to be someone, he said, who is smarter, stronger, faster than you. Be your best. That is the definition of success. Coach Kapisa challenged us to challenge ourselves to be the best. He pushed us to our physical limit, our emotional limit, and then promised us that good things come to those who work hard. I am proud, honored, and privileged to know Coach Vito Kapisa as a teacher, coach, mentor, and most importantly, as a personal friend. Thank you, Coach Kapisa.
Next, we're going to welcome another Nantucket alumni, a young man who has